The NPA, you believe that they are bad. But we found out that NPA means soldiers of the people, and that they fight for poor people. Once we found out what they were trying to do, we figured they weren't bad after all. We found out all about them by being with them, and we get along fine together. Actually, if the present government would only treat us the way they do, we'd be a lot better off, poor people like us. You know, when the NPA first came in here, the first thing that happened was that petty crimes like stealing chickens and farm tools stopped right away. Thieves got scared because the NPA, right at the beginning, explained why we had to have peace and order in our village life. They spoke against stealing, making free with women and drunkenness. Now you don't see people just loafing or picking fights. You never see fights and you don't hear about any. A lot of real changes have taken place in our village since the NPA came.
The presence of the NPA brought other changes as well, according to Miguel.
Even the government soldiers changed in the way they act. They used to bully us for any little thing, but now they're a bit scared of the NPA. Before, if you rode on top of a jeep because there wasn't enough room inside, they'd yell at you and make you get off. Now they just ask us to be careful, and they're quite polite about it. The veteran NPA fighters, and the ones we've known for a while, are disciplined, and they're respectful towards us. New recruits aren't always the same. They're often a little rude to people. Sometimes they don't wait to be invited. They just walk right into people's houses. They're rough around the edges sometimes, the younger ones, the ones just recruited. But we just tolerate them, because they're new, and we know people are often like this when they're young. We know things are tough right now, but we know that if we didn't have the NPA, things would have been a lot tougher for us.
The families are well aware of the dangers that could lie ahead. Despite the risks involved in a seesaw guerrilla war, the farmers have become actively involved in the local rebel government. They're members of the Peasant Association. Donato is also a member of the village militia, which maintains peace and order and assists the NPA in defending the land. In a sense, it is really the first government in the area, providing services long neglected by Philippine authorities. Teresa Maria Ruiz.
Ang Rebolusyong Agraryo ang pangunahing programa ng PRG.
The focus of the work of the Provisional Revolutionary Government, or PRG, here in Vizcaya-Carino provinces, is the agrarian revolution. Why is this so important? Mainly because peasants make up 84% of the population. What does our government do? Where we've been able to set up a new government at the village or municipal level, it takes over responsibility for economic, political, military, cultural, defense, justice, health, and education or literacy programs. They look after all kinds of community projects. For example, in the PRG's executive committee, you have the mayor, the commanding officer of the militia, and representatives from the committees on education, organization, culture, and health. And you also have the barrio captains and the judge who supervises the justice system. We have to build an alternative government because neither the central government of Coria Aquino nor the provincial government look after the needs of the peasants, the vast majority of the population, the very poorest of all the people. But these are just the people the revolutionary government does look after.
In another guerrilla front, in Quezon, 600 kilometers to the south, peasants have started a small cooperative farm. The harvest of corn will be divided among the farmers to supplement other food supplies. The project is managed by the local chapter of the Revolutionary Peasant Association, known as PKM. The PKM is a member organization of the National Democratic Front. This region of southern Luzon is devoted mainly to coconut production. Farmers like Leandro Camino are tenants or sharecroppers. Leandro rents 6 hectares from a landlord who owns 100 hectares in the area. In the past, Leandro gave 2/3 of his harvest each season to the landlord as rent for the land. Out of his share, he had to pay for production expenses as well. He could hardly survive. In 1980, the guerrilla movement began organizing in the area. The peasants formed an association and decided to confront the landlords to change the rent share. The poor peasants invited the landlords to a meeting. Leandro Camino was there.
Ang ginawa ng samahan doon, sila kinumbida sila na kung maaari dumalaw sila dito sa baryo namin.
Our Peasants Association asked the landlords to come and visit our village, and we explained to them what kind of life poor tenants lead. At first they got mad, and they wouldn't give in to anything we asked. All they could say was that they owned the land, so how could we demand changes in the rent share? The way they saw it, they should be calling the shots. But eventually they ended up agreeing to our conditions. We wanted to reverse the percentages so that we would keep 2 parts of the harvest and pay the landlord 1. In the end, they gave in.
Pumayag naman siya noon. Malaki ang naitulong sa...
It meant a lot for my family to lower the rent. We were able to buy some farm animals and send the children to school. And now we don't run out of food the way we used to.
No doubt the presence of NPA guerrilla units in the area gave the Peasant Association added clout and encouraged the landlords to make concessions. But the NPA does not get directly involved in the process unless the landlords resort to violence. It is vital for the farmers themselves to stand up for their rights, says Gregorio Rosal, the NPA commander in Quezon. A peasant himself, Rosal joined the guerrillas 10 years ago.
Kaugnay ng suliranin sa lupa, ang bagong hukbong bayan ay tumutulong sa pagpapatupad.
If we look at the land question, the job of the New People's Army is to back up the work of the revolutionary peasant organizations and the National Democratic Front.
Samahang magsasaka at ng National Democratic Front.
When the peasants get organized, the first thing they learn is how to fight for their rights. Then, if the landlords bring in the government or the military, the NPA units will take action.
Ang bagong hukbong bayan, ang mga unit ng NPA ay pumapasok sa usaping ito kung ang mga Panginoong may lupa o ang gobyerno o ang militar ay nakikialam sa.
For example, when peasants are trying to get a change in the rent share or negotiating for a piece of land, and the landlords and politicians use force, like armed groups, then the People's Army will step in and defend the peasants.
Humihingi sila o nakikipaglaban sila para mapunta.
But as long as nobody uses any force, we will stay on the sidelines. We leave it all to the people's organizations, like the peasants' associations.
Ang grupo o karahasan, dito pumapasok ang bagong hukbong bayan. Pinagtatanggol nila ang mga magsasaka. Pero habang walang nagaganap na karahasan, ang bagong hukbong bayan ay nananatiling sumusubaybay lang. Pinapaubaya nito sa iba pang revolusyonaryong organisasyon, halimbawa ng mga magsasaka, ang usapin na ito.
Kaliwa ka Marlon, una muna padyak ng kaliwa.
Kulang sila sa lupa. Pagkatapos, yun namang mangilan-ngilang magsasaka na may sariling lupa.
The first problem that people have is that they have little or no land.
Lupa, lalong-lalo na sa lugar na matagal.
But another problem is that the land is of very poor quality, especially if it has been farmed for a long time and depleted, or if it is in the hilly areas.
Nasa gawaing tumutulong sa Revolusyong Agraryo.
NPA units are assigned to assist with the agrarian revolution.
Matuto sa
They work with the peasants to help them run their local projects. Projects to improve the land and develop different types of cooperation.
Matuto na magtayo ng mga iba't ibang anyo ng pagtutulungan.
Farmers are digging an irrigation ditch to channel water from a nearby river to their co-op farm. They're flooding fields to plant rice. The Peasant Association encourages many forms of cooperation to benefit the community, explains Edwin Lasano, one of the leaders of the Village Peasant Association.
Alimbawa, may araro, may karabaw, at may araruhan na may pinagtatamnan. Ayun,
For example, I have a plow and a carabao, but another farmer may not. We cooperate so that he can work his fields just as I can.
Halimbawa, may gawain ho pang organisasyon o sa samahan.
Then, in other cases, there are people who are busy with work for the Peasant Association. The rest of us will prepare their land for planting. This is how we help each other.
Pagtatamnan yung isang kasapi, yung aming samahan.